We bask in a new age of sound. Today we have with us the HIFIMAN He1000 Unveiled. This is the best version of the He1000 and it is at the same time the most different one from the others. So let's see together how the Unveiled is built, what the idea is behind the Unveiled driver and whether it survives actual daily usage. He1000 Unveiled has this little trick where you can take off the caps, and those caps have a little carbon printing on the inside. The point of them is that you have to remove the caps, the metallic protections, and we should stop calling them the caps because here are the ear caps. Those are just dust protections. And here we have the driver. This is the HIFIMAN Planar magnetic driver. Beautiful in it. The point of the Unveiled technology is that every single thing HIFIMAN has been doing so far with the stealth magnets, with having more acoustically transparent ear caps, the whole design has been so that there are less reflections coming from the back of the driver and then reflected back into your ear, because those reflections are registered by your ears as distortion. So here we have the one headphone that can have no reflections. This is because here we have the magnets, those are the magnets, and behind the magnets there's nothing. There is no ear cap. So this sounds dangerous at first. At first I was quite afraid that I may damage them. I'm not the most careful of people. There's a lot of stuff going on my desk. So at first I was quite concerned about the new He1000 Unveiled because I thought they will die in my home. And yet, here we are, they survived. About the Unveiled technology, it basically removes the ear cap completely. There is no protection for the driver. You can even see through the magnets. They have the same construction as He1000 Special Edition, the more comfortable earband, the more comfortable ear pads. The size of the ear cap is quite large. As you can see, they have more than enough space for my ears. Even I don't have that big of ears. And the headband does an excellent job at distributing the weight. You basically can't feel that you're wearing the He1000 Unveiled. The exposed driver at first sounds very scary, and I won't lie to you, I was really concerned about having the drivers exposed. But in actual usage, I have touched this driver multiple times while it was working, because you go with your hand, you want to adjust the driver and you don't catch the ear cap, you catch the driver, you just poop and you touch the driver. It doesn't burn from touches. I have touched it with metallic objects also. For example, with cables. When I was trying to insert a cable, I was playing around the ear cap and at some point I touched the magnets with a metallic object. Once again, that doesn't kill the He1000 Unveiled. I'm not suggesting that you do that. I'm just suggesting that you have to relax while wearing them because they won't die so easily. They survive dust. My room is a dusty mess. For some reason, I always get dust. I clean daily, but there is dust all the time. So dust won't kill them. Touching the drivers won't kill them. It does color the driver a bit though. The magnets in the drivers are a bit colored. The connectors are 3.5 millimeters, just like every other HIFIMAN headphone, so cables will be backwards compatible, which is nice. The adjusting mechanism is nice and tight. You can do this, pack, pack. Overall usage is pretty much the same as He1000 Special Edition, although I wouldn't take them outdoors. And when I spoke with HIFIMAN and I asked them what would kill the headphones, they told me that any small metallic particle entering the driver chamber would kill the driver. This is because the driver is nano diaphragm, is extremely thin. It is one of the thinnest diaphragms available on the market, which means that it's super easy to puncture that. So if, let's say, a little screw was on your desk, the magnets are very strong magnetically and they would suck in the screw, which would go to the membrane, and that would kill the membrane because it would kill the electric circuit that lives inside of the membrane. So don't leave them without the dust covers on, especially if you place them on a desk. I have where to place them, but if you don't, at least put the dust covers on. Those dust covers are there to be replaced. You can't listen to music while you have those things on. It's impossible. You will not hear anything. The sound is super not what it should be. The dust covers are not easy to scratch. There are 0 scratches on mine, which is surprising because you can see that I took them outdoors. And the headphones have a beautiful silvery color, although I'm seeing that HIFIMAN is starting to use a better painting material on the headphones. So with most He1000 series of headphones, I typically would get a lot of scratches on the headband and on the ear cap. The He1000 Unveiled is absolutely spotless. Super nice. You may expect a slightly better build quality than the He1000 Special Edition, which I did review and was full of scratches. Now, to the sound, you are not here to listen to me talking about the build quality. If you thought that the build quality was poop, you wouldn't even be following this video, right? You can hear the driving moving quite a lot when you place them on. It's not driver flex, if you have hair and hair brushes against it in any way, you'll hear that. Once it doesn't brush, you don't hear it. The HI1000 Unveiled is slightly easier to drive than the Special Edition. You don't need a lot of power, and you're best not feeding them too much power. If you feed them too much power, they may burn, so don't overdo the power. Sonically, it is the best sounding HI1000 to date. First off, it sounds quite a bit wider than the others, but it's not the width itself, it's how holographic and well defined the sound is. You get a much stronger instrument separation, you get a better definition for each instrument, and the resolution itself brings the HI1000 Unveiled much closer to a Susvara than it does to a HI1000 Special Edition. It's a whole level above the Special Edition. You just get so much more information extracted from music. That information makes sense, it's always musical, it's always pleasing to the ear, it is never too harsh, too fatiguing, although the voices are quite forward. So if you enjoy a more forward voice like a W-shaped signature, or of course they are pretty much neutral, but we'll talk about that. So if you enjoy a more forward voicing, you will love the sound of the HI1000 Unveiled. When people review them and measure them, they tend to look very bright on the measurement charts. This is because they have a lot of treble. So the treble extension is excellent up to 20 kHz. You'll hear everything, air, sparkle, shimmer. The treble and the cymbal energy and the air information is super nice. You hear absolutely everything. And yet they are less bright than the Special Edition. I'm comparing them to the Special Edition because it's the closest related headphone made by HIFIMAN and also the most direct competitor. Most people who will consider this will consider it against the Special Edition. So the sound of the HI1000 Unveiled compared to the Special Edition will be less bright on the Unveiled, even though they measure extremely bright in actual graphs. The reason it is less bright is that the treble has quite a bit less fatiguing elements. HI1000 Special Edition not only sounded bright, but had a bit more grain to it. The sound was a bit more grainy, which resulted in a slightly more fatiguing sound, so you would notice the brightness, you would notice the sharpness of the sound quite a bit more. On the Unveiled, you don't really notice the sharpness, the grain, it is absolutely grain-free, so since there is no reflection between the back of the driver and then no information comes back into your ear, you never hear grain. That pretty much produces a bit of grain, produces a bit of harshness in the sound. But with the Unveiled, you never hear that grain, that harshness, you just hear pure smoothness in the treble. They are quite a bit smooth, they are silky, they are super nice, super musical, also quite organic in the sound. You'll notice that the ear cup itself has those perforations on the outside. From my understanding, those have an acoustic roll so that it sounds even more airy. The Susvara Unveiled, which I have in the back, Susvara Unveiled doesn't have the same perforations, it just has a larger driver. The driver on the HI1000 is more narrow, but a bit taller than the one on the Susvara, so they have different shapes for a different signature. While wearing the Unveiled, you will get zero passive noise isolation. This is the most transparent headphone you can get, acoustically speaking. It leaks absolutely everything in the room at a very loud volume. You hear absolutely you don't hear it, someone else will hear that. The maximum volume was a surprise. So with the HI1000 Special Edition, it's very easy to run into THD or total harmonic distortion. You can very easily overdrive them and they will sound distorted. They needed humongous amounts of power to be controlled. The Unveiled doesn't really need that much power, so they sound good out of mid-range sources. They never distort. The best part of them is how loud they can get without distorting at all. They will be clean, clear, crisp, super well defined, and never any trace of distortion. That's something I really enjoy about the Unveiled. The sound of the Unveiled can be a bit revealing, so you can expect to hear everything. It's not a sound that hides mistakes, and yet there is something more revealing out there. So if this sounds revealing, don't worry, we will cover the Susvara and the Susvara Unveiled, which can extract even more detail from music. But for its price point, the HI1000 Unveiled actually reveals more from music than the Special Edition and any other direct competitor. In the full written review, we did quite a few more comparisons, for example with the T+A Solitaire PSA. Because the PSA can create a wider soundstage, it also has a very transparent ear cup, acoustically speaking. The problem is that the HI1000 Special Edition, despite not looking like this on paper, can create a deeper bass with less distortion. It can punch you much more, it has a higher amount of punch and a higher dynamic. So the sound is quite a bit more dynamic, it is better controlled and has a much stronger punch. It goes boom! This is how the bass of the HA1000 Unveiled is like. So while the bass is neutral in amount, it's very punchy. The sound is uber dynamic. It's the most dynamic that you can get in this price range. The coloration is towards neutral brightish. If you are looking for a somewhat bright, somewhat neutral headphone, the HA1000 Unveiled is the one for you. But don't worry, they will have plenty of bass. For example, with jazz music, they will sound refined. You'll have that air in jazz, you'll hear those finer shimmers in the cymbals, but you never think to yourself that they lack bass. They have enough bass. At the end of the day, the HA1000 Unveiled is a special headphone. Not being the special edition, they are the magical edition, I would say. You are good to use them on a daily basis inside of your home. You shouldn't have to worry about the Unveiled drivers. If you cover them while not in usage, if you don't leave them next to small screws or to needles for some reason, for example, if you are sewing, if you have this hobby of making clothes, yeah, don't leave them next to sewing needles. But otherwise, you should be good to go with the HA1000 Unveiled. You shouldn't have any kind of problems. Even jewelry should mostly be fine. I have used them while wearing earrings, while wearing necklaces. They are still alive and kicking. HIFIMAN has a pretty long warranty on the Unveiled, so they are confident in the ability of the driver to survive daily usage. As far as I could tell, it's 3 years now. The original HA1000 headphones had 1 year of warranty. The HA1000 Unveiled have 3 years of warranty in every single shop I checked, so HIFIMAN really believes in the power of the Unveiled driver. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Unveiled driver. Do you believe in it? Do you believe that they would make excellent headphones? And if not, what are you looking forward to? Tell me what to review next and what you'd like to see on the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll have a lovely week out there and we'll see each other really soon. Bye!